Lots of exposure. Oh my, we're
Oh,
doing
yes.
exposure today.
The reveal.
You never know what we're going to be talking about. Well, this is Let's Talk About Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine. Let's have some fun.
Oh, this is going to be a fun topic. Oftentimes we talk about serious and intense, and this one's fun. So it's about what men and women wish the opposite sex knew about them.
Hmm.
And it came up because as you know, I do a meetup every Monday night for singles that are over 50 in the Orange County, California area. And there's generally 25 people that show up every week. And it's almost 50-50 men and women, which is so interesting for a singles thing. And so for the last 3 weeks, I have asked this question so I always let the women introduce themselves first. They say their name and where they live and that what they wish men knew. And then when it's the men's turn, I've asked them, what do you wish women knew? And in 3 weeks, there's been, with over 20 people, there's been hardly any duplicates. So
Wow.
this was really a hot topic subject, and everybody had stuff that they wished the other person knew. And I was thinking, because you're a guy and you talk exclusively to women. Yes, member in good standing, card carrying.
Yep.
And I'm a lady and half of my clients are men, that it might be fun to start out just talking from our personal gender, what we would like the opposite sex to know about our gender. And then we could both talk from the opposite sex because we've talked to them and we've heard all the complaints about
Yep.
what the opposite sex. So I thought that might be kind of fun.
Hmm. It's gonna be interesting, definitely. So ladies first.
Oh, thank you. You're always such a gentleman. I like that about you. I am a sucker for manners, I have to tell you. So one of the things that I hear a lot from women is we like regular contact. So one of the things that's challenging for us is you very nicely make plans with us on Tuesday for Friday, and then we don't hear from you. And
Right.
I explained it's for a really good reason, that you would contact us if you changed your mind, but because we like having reassurance along the way, what the women have said is we would like you maybe on Thursday. It's okay if you skip Wednesday, but on Thursday to say, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just confirming our time. See, and you're such an evolved man, you're going to know all these things I'm going to say.
Well, let me be clear. I'm not perfect to this, so I could definitely. I might pick up some tips too. So I'm not going to be like, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's like, no, that's a good one. I'll write that one down.
Well, thank you.
But that
So,
one I know. Yes.
and then in the relationship, what's important for the women is to say how much time, some women, they don't want a lot. Some women want more. So to say, for me, what works for me is I like a morning text. I like a good night text. And it's okay if it's like every other day. That works for me personally, Christine. And for the women to say, this is what I'd like. And then the guy could say, well, I really can't do that. I can't do mornings, but I could do night, or I could do night. I can't do night, but I could do morning. So that you end up with this wonderful negotiation where both people feel like they won.
Hmm. So on a similar but shifted perspective, one thing I know that I like, and I think other men like this too, and of course I don't presume for other men, but I know for myself, is to have what do you call it, like closing the loops on communication. So for me, this is one of my pet peeves personally. I'm sure other people have it, where gender, regardless of gender, is when I text somebody, I'd love to hear back from them, even if it's just say I can't get back to you now.
Yeah.
I've got conversations with female friends and business partners sometimes too, where I text them and I don't hear back from them for a day, and I'm like, did you get my text? Did it go through? Because the thing for me is, and it's true for all men as well, we like having completions of cycles. We want to get to the end of something. So one of our goals is like, we want to be done so we can put our feet up. Because ultimately, and this is one thing I learned from one of our teachers, is that we men ultimately really are lazy. But we'll do the work so that we can be lazy. So we're not lazy, we won't do anything. At least some men. I mean, I used to be that way. I was a bit lazier than I should have been. But it's the idea that we want to complete what we're doing so we can then say, I'm good. So in a communication, like a text, is that we want to ask a question or we send a message because we want to get a response. Once we get the response, we can go, okay, I'm complete now.
That's such a good point. Thank you. Because we
Certainly.
like that too, as ladies.
Yeah. But it's like not everybody gets that one.
No, they really don't. They really don't. And it does leave you hanging.
Right.
Mhm. So another thing that ladies wish men knew was we appreciate compliments. We'd like them not all to be about how we look.
Mm.
Something we said in our conversation, or something we said in our profile, or something that's of interest to us, along with you look pretty, or nice outfit, or cute shoes. Wow, you made such a good point in the thing you said in your profile, so that it's not only about our physicality.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thank
And
you.
a good one that men should take notes on that one, especially because we go there as a default.
Of
Because
course.
we're more visually cued, and women are more energetically or even emotionally cued. So it's like to know that, oh yeah, we should see beyond what we see or act
Yeah.
beyond what we see. Yeah.
Yeah. Say beyond what you see. Yes. And it's
Yes.
not that we don't want a compliment. We'd prefer it not be too personally physical initially. Later, yeah, but not initially when
Yeah.
we're just getting to know each other. But it's okay to compliment, nice hairdo and that, but always add something else.
Yeah. I do know with some female friends, like being conscious enough, which I don't always do, to notice when they've had their hair done differently.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
tell them, the women love it. When they've got to train me to say it, not so
Yeah.
good.
No.
So,
Yeah.
and also I know that women, in the bedroom, women love to hear like visual descriptions of how they look, because compliments, not
Yes.
criticisms,
No, no, no.
because it adds to it adds to the juice and the fun and the playfulness.
Very much.
There's one that was
That's a
on my
good one.
mind for us men is it's interesting because I know as the way we are raised as children, for boys and girls, girls generally thrive more from praise. Boys generally thrive more from challenge.
Yeah.
But as adults, I feel like in relationship, we men would love to we thrive more on being complimented, being praised, being loved, being cherished,
Yes.
rather than being challenged all the time. So
No.
we get that from the world out there.
Yeah.
So in our relationships, we want to really have our partners
Mm.
like stroke our feelings so we feel better,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
if it's taking a toll on us. So that's one thing I think men really benefit from.
Yes. Yes. You want us to be a safe place for all the parts of you.
Yes,
The strong night part of you, and the I'm having a crappy day part of you.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a really big one for women. When we're complaining, we don't want you to fix it.
Oh, I have a whole teaching on this one.
Don't we both?
Yes.
It's so funny because I taught it at my meetup 3 weeks ago. I talked about how to do tell me more to men. And one of the guys, there's two people in there that are in very committed relationships. And this one keeps saying, I keep learning so much. Is it okay if I keep coming? It's okay if I'm not single. Absolutely. Because I
Yeah.
love that he's so enthusiastic. So we went and tried it. And so he came back the next week and he said, I have to tell you, it worked really well. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because our wiring is not built that way.
No.
As I said, it's like closing loops, completions. That's what I said about the texting. When our partner has a problem, our immediate radar goes to, I'm going to fix it and be the hero.
Yeah.
Without realizing, first of all, that 9 times out of 10, she doesn't need fixing, and nor
No.
does the issue.
No.
She just needs us to listen, which is not what we're trained for.
No. No.
Because we want something to do to resolve it, because we want to be able to get completions, because we like
Yeah.
to go get it, achieve the goal, get it done, put our feet up.
Yep. Yep. Where's the point? Where's the point? Solution done.
Yeah. So when a woman is complaining, and normally complaining to us, not at us,
Right.
which is key.
It's easier if it's not about you.
Exactly. Then it's going against our natural instincts. What your friend said, the guy said on the call, was like the same things. Like it was such a rewiring of our system to not do anything about it, because it's like suppressing the urge to jump in, to fix, to save her, to be the white knight,
Yeah.
to be a savior. But there's no need to.
No.
And so that's a real shift in awareness for us men. Are the cases one of my big learnings I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said he practically had a bloody tongue because he kept having to bite it so much.
Exactly.
But if you know as a man, your real true goal is to make us feel better. That's why you're looking for the point to offer the solution.
Yes.
And I assure you, as a woman, I will feel better. So that's your goal if you listen.
Yes. If every woman told her man that, it would go, I can do that now. Because
Yes,
we know.
it's a relief.
Yeah.
Because you keep looking for the point and we keep talking.
Absolutely.
And if you I've really paid attention and I have a great solution, and then you say it and we go, you're not listening. I'm thinking, I listened so well, I had this great solution, but okay, I'll give you another solution, which makes this even madder.
It's such an amazing thing to see. Again, like John Gray says, we're from different planets.
Yes.
To understand how communication doesn't work.
Yes.
How good we are at making it bad.
Yes. It's such a downward spiral.
Absolutely.
So he's game to keep trying it more and to get better at it. Because I said, of anything, like he's works out all the time. I said it all wasn't easy in the beginning. It's gotten better. Trust me, you will not have to hurt your tongue so much after a while because you see the benefit. So the thing I tell women, though, and that's how you teach a man to say, I appreciate you want to make me feel better. This is what's going to do it. If you just are quiet, or if you really can't want to say something, then say, tell me more. That's just
3 words
in your mouth. Yes, the 3 words. Because I love doing this in a group of people, because I'll have women look at men that they don't even know. And I say, men, watch her face. And up from the stage with, 50 women and 50 men, I'll just say, tell me more. And every woman goes, oh, we just do. That, since that's your goal for me, hun, if you would just listen or say, tell me more, when I'm done, I promise, this is my commitment, I am going to feel better and I am going to say thank you to you for making me feel better. Because then you get to feel the win, which is what you've been looking for all this time in offering a solution.
So 2 things on that, because I love what you said. That's like, transformational. One of which is, if the woman doesn't say it to the man first, saying, I don't need to do anything, is a wise man, when the woman's is about to launch into what she's upset about, is saying, before we jump into this, I want to make sure I don't need to give you a solution. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
So that way we know, okay, I can turn that part of my mind off for the moment. It's not needed.
Mm-hmm.
The second piece, which is what I know for myself was the transformation journey from my own work, was to understand is that my strength doesn't come from my answers. It comes from my presence.
Yes.
And it's funny, I had that experience yesterday. I've been playing on Clubhouse, which is the new audio app. And I was in a room that a friend of mine invited me to join into. It comes about relationships. And the woman who was leading the group didn't know me at the time. After I did my talk, I was in the room the rest of the time and I was listening back and forward. And I would occasionally, you hit your microphone to like on and off to like, it's like you're applauding or responding to somebody's comment. She said at the end of it how much she appreciated my presence. And I'm like, you couldn't see me. How do you know I was present? So I know it's that level. It's that ability to hold the space that for many women, and a lot of women don't even know this, but when they feel it, they go, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So for us men, the gift we bring isn't in our words 9 times out of 10. It's about our beingness, our presence that is transformational.
And when you look at us, your single focusedness that is in your DNA, instead of us where we're thinking about 47 things at the same, you singly focus on us while we're talking. It is monumental to us. It is, we love it so much that I really care. I'm with you. I'm paying attention. We are just, it, not only the talking, but that connectedness. It's what helps make us feel better. It really does.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's us. It's the men helping the woman feel like she's the center. She's the focus. He's not on his phone. He's not on his computer. He's looking out the window. She's his focus, which is the healing agent right there.
Oh, number one.
Yeah.
Even more, if men would understand that, even more than the listening, you have to combine them.
Mm-hmm.
The focusing, the staring. Oh, we just love it. Yeah, it makes us feel so connected to you.
Right. And on that level, that's one of the things I know is because one of my fears in before. Okay.
I forgot to turn off Facebook. Oops.
Oh.
Our producer told me to do that, and I forgot.
Back on track. So one of the things that I was aware of also is communication is the key. Compliments and keeping your loved one in the loop. Okay, yes, thank you. That was from what we said earlier, which is good. The thing is, there was a piece of did he go? Come back. Because the last thing you were saying was about. Oh yes, this was a piece. Is that for one of the things is, again, our presence, our beingness, our ability to see you and hold the space for you so you get where you want to go. But one thing that was more challenging for me is that I had this feeling, especially because we couldn't like redirect, interrupt, provide solutions because that was interrupting your flow, is that I would be panicking because I'm like, I can't remember everything she's saying. You know, that part.
Yes.
But the realization is we don't actually need to remember what you're saying, because what you're doing is emptying out. It's like you're pouring out a bucket. You don't need to catch what's in the bucket. Mm-hmm. You know, Alison Armstrong has, I'm sure you know one, Alison Armstrong has a thing about the emptying the basket. And it's like the way she describes it, which was so, when I heard in I was in one of her events, when she described it, it's such a visceral experience I could not get out of my head. So I'm very good at this now, because I go, ooh, don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Was the idea that basically when man's listening to a woman, when he's standing there listening to her now, little sidebar, is that when a woman's voicing her upset, oftentimes for a man, it's very challenging because it can be very big. Mm-hmm. And so when a woman's really upset, sometimes it could be, because it's sometimes cumulative. It's built up over weeks or days or hours, whatever it's been. And she wants to let it out, but she also doesn't want to filter it. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to control it, contain it to make us feel better. She wants to let it loose. So our job as men is to make sure it's safe enough for her to do that, and that we're safe enough not to get destroyed by it.
Yeah. Oh, so dual. Yes.
Yeah, both ways. And so what she said is that when a woman is emptying out that way, and just, it's almost the toxicity she's getting out of the system, because truth is, it is toxic to her system. Mm-hmm. She doesn't let it out. Mm-mm. It's almost like she's throwing up, and we've got a bucket that we're basically throwing it into. And if we interrupt, if we provide solutions, if we redirect or anything like that, it's like trying to pour it back in her. Mm-hmm. And that sounded so gross to me. Like, I'm like, ooh. So I now viscerally have that experience of, like, when a woman's letting this out, don't try to fix it, because that's the side effect. Is like, making it worse. So hopefully people watching this will get that same, like, uncomfortable feeling I was getting. So they know it's like the best place to be is to be in a place of stillness and not worry about remembering everything. Mm-hmm. Just hold the space. That's the best thing we can do as men. And it's a gift we have when we don't try to do anything.
Mm-hmm. For both of you.
Yes. Because
she gets to empty, and you stop trying to get it in your brain of what it is. Am I supposed to do something? No. The end. We will tell you in the end. Mm-hmm. We're really good about that. When we finally are done. And I tell men, we really will stop. It's going to seem like forever.
Eventually, yes.
It really is. And the guy on my meetup confirmed that. He said it did feel like, it wasn't that long. It feels really long.
Right.
It does. And especially if you're doing this really hard new thing. Sorry.
Absolutely. Well, no, I was going to say, the other thing also is that the other thing for us men is also, don't take it personally.
Yes.
Because the other part is, a lot of times what women are upset about is, like, 17 things happen out in the world that maybe one thing we did just open up the floodgates.
Yeah.
We are not the cause of it, unless we are, and that's a different story. Yeah. But in generally speaking, is that if we don't take it personally, it's so much easier for us to let ourselves off the hook, so we can hold the space without going, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting to get, like, clobbered by what she's going to say.
Yes.
Which some women tend to do that. So this is not true for everybody.
No.
We're talking about generalities here, because most women aren't into the revenge game that way. No. But it's like when a woman is upset. I mean, so if a woman wanted to tell her partner something that he had done that was upsetting to her, how would she do that in a way that wasn't the same as what we just talked about?
So, because that is such a different circumstance when you're going to complain about him.
Well, hopefully constructive criticism, but don't complain. I know.
You're
whatever.
Yeah. With him, and you need to get it out however you're going to get it out. Yes.
Yeah.
So much. Yes. And in the middle of it, boy, I wish I could give people better semantics, but we're just not when we're in the middle of stuff. But right. I like how wise you are in your word usage. That's when we need more words, a little bit more words of, I'm really upset, and upset about something that you did, and I need to just talk about it. And I will tell you what I need at the end. In the middle, I
just felt that, yeah.
don't you? Oh, and I'll explain this to him, and I go, it really will work better if we're all three together, in person or on the phone, because I want to keep reassuring him we're not going to pull the rug out from underneath you. I promise. I have had a conversation with her. She's not going to do it that way now or anymore, or all the things that I call us women out, because I've done it. I've done all these things before I knew better. I have. So I want him to be able to stand there open-hearted and not feel like he has to have his armor on, because that's what's happened in the past. So the goal is she's going to get it out and say what it is that upset her. And she's going to tell him what she needs after, in a way that we hope he can feel successful.
Yeah.
And then then she's going to shut up with her invisible duct tape that Allison always talks about and let him give his feedback.
Yeah.
So if she's needed an apology, I tell her, these are the words. Tell him these are the words. I really need an apology, and I need you to do it this way. He can say, I can't do it that way. That's really allowed, and they can have a lovely negotiation. At least you now know the action, the solution, the option. So you don't feel often what we do is we just dump, complain, tell you the problem, and then you're like, and you want me to do what about it? So I put it on the woman. We're going to come up with what would make you feel better. What could he do or say? We're going to hand it to him on a silver platter, clear as a bell. He's going to know what you could have that would make you feel better. And then he can say it or do it or not. And he might need to do or say something differently. I have had very few men that have done it differently. Partly it's pretty reasonable. And partly you're like, oh, phew, I could do that. She's going to feel better. And then she needs to say, thank you. I feel better. And this is such an important point. I am not going to bring it up again. 6 months down the road, I am not bringing this thing up again.
Whew, God, this is the relief.
Because we do that mostly because we haven't had this conversation of what really do I need to hear? What do I need you to say that I'm going to get over this? Because most of the time, we've talked about the people that can't get over stuff, but this is not them. We want to get over it. We don't want to feel icky about you all the time. We just don't. I mean, we love you. We live with you. We hopefully want to have sex with you, and we're not gonna if we're all frustrated and sad and feeling all pissy. So this is how you can, one of the techniques, there's a few, but this one is so basic and and hard and easy at the same time. That if you make a commitment that at the end of this conversation, and it's more grief than people can imagine when you get to the nut of what the thing was, you say, this is what I need, you get back what you need, and then you say, I'm done. I'm done. And you really can be done. It's amazing. They'll think, wow, what was that thing that bothered me a month ago? I don't even remember. It's lovely. It's not like other stuff doesn't come up. What you get, though, is you have now a tool so that it isn't 6 months built up.
Yeah.
Especially if we've talked about having, the business meeting of the relationship once a week or on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
So you're like, is there something you need to talk about? Is there something an apology for? It happens for men too. We hurt you horribly with looks and words and our actions horribly. And so men say, I'm going to get mine out too and say, this is what bothered me and this is what I need back. And would you do it this way in the future? And if you keep doing that on a regular basis, you don't end up with quite as big of explosions.
Right. So a couple of quick things. One is you said about how it'd be over quicker than you think it is.
Yeah.
I think it will be in terms of that. The clue to men is the less you interrupt, the quicker it's going to be over too.
That's a key.
Another good reason to shut up and listen. Be present.
Yeah.
But the second thing is also when there is an argument versus a venting, it's much more helpful. And this constructive methodology is when you start to talk about when you're upset, is talk about your own feelings versus what the other person did. Because if you blame the other person for what happened, you're giving them the power, first of all, to keep doing it. And secondly, you're not taking responsibility for your participation in it. Meaning that if somebody did something, if your partner left the toothpaste cap off and you love putting toothpaste cap on, you could get so upset about it. And you simply say, well, no, I hate it when you leave the toothpaste cap off. Or you say, when you left the toothpaste cap off, I felt like you didn't love me anymore. Which may be what's really going on. So it's so really owning the feeling of it. So that way, the argument becomes less of an argument against each other, but arguments that are for each other, because you're starting to say what I really would appreciate instead is. So it's much healthier.
Wow. The toothpaste, the dishwasher,
the toilet paper, so many things
turn into these really big, you don't care about me things.
Yeah.
You don't care about me as a person. You don't care about my feelings. You don't care about what's important to me. Oh my gosh. Yes. And wow, it's so powerful to say it out loud.
It is.
It is. Well, Cece has asked us to go to a break. So we're going to be back with this very juicy subject after the commercials.
See you in a minute. And we're back.
We're back. Talking about what men and women wish the opposite sex knew about them. I just love this subject so much. I can tell you really do too.
Just a bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, because the truth is, I didn't know any of this stuff for a long time, and I kept messing up my relationships because I didn't know enough about myself or my partner. And having been, I'll say exposed to, but having been a student of some really powerful teachers and then lived it and experienced it myself, I have such a passion. That's why we both do what we do with our coaching, because it's such a passion to explore and inspire and awaken ourselves and the opposite sex and the same sex to a new way of understanding each other. So, Alison Armstrong's book talking about understanding men. It's like, yes. And so the whole conversation is like, how can we understand each other better and also enjoy that, because now we know each other better, we can have more fun together.
Yes. Well, and it's fun because the other part of that title is understanding men and satisfying women.
Yes, indeed.
When the saying of happy wife, happy life is there for a reason.
Yes.
And you do, as lovely Y chromosome people, are constantly looking for ways to make us happy and on the guard for what makes us unhappy, because you don't want to do that. And we don't tell you very much what makes us unhappy. We just get unhappy and turn into, I look like one of those little cartoons, with the storm cloud following me around. And I wasn't going to tell you, because you should just know if you love me enough. If you care enough, you would just know.
So one thing men need to let women know about is we're not telepathic. And to be blunt about it and to be self exposing, we're kind of simpler beings. I mean, we are simpler in a lot of ways because we're much more linear and much less multitasking. And so when a woman may wish we knew something but didn't tell us what it was, maybe we may be oblivious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So be kind enough to tell us what it is that we're doing wrong, so to speak, so we can course correct. Because the other thing is, for most men, we want to do better because we want to please our partner. Yes, happy wife, happy life. But it does sometimes require the simplistic level of saying, what is it you want so I can make you happy?
Yes. Yes. Tell me. And it's okay if you tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I could do instead.
Yes.
Don't just leave that out there.
Because my guessing might not be effective.
And how sad is that? It's not a good use of your energy.
No.
Yeah. So, you know, Christine's always going to bring sex into every conversation. So
I'm so surprised.
I know. So most women like sex, some degree or another. We just don't want to talk about it generally in the first couple meetings. We just don't.
Right.
And so partly what feels sexual to us is familiar kind of words like babe or sweetie or honey. And I know some people are just raised with those words. They just are what they've talked all their whole life, their friends, their family. We have a sensitive place about that. It feels like you're getting too personal. It feels like you're going to move sexual next. It's just how we are. So we appreciate it if you don't use familiar terms first in the beginning.
Got it.
Now, I love having nicknames eventually. I think that's really fun. So if we get to know each other and we've gone out a few times and you say, do you have a nickname you like? Or I was thinking of a nickname for you and I want to try it out, because now you've asked our permission.
Yeah.
It's not just put on us. And I know 97.333% of the men never mean it too familiar. But I just want you to hear how it comes off negative to us.
That's good to have, because that's not something I was really aware of. So thank you. That's educated me. Thank you.
It was one of the things that was brought up at my meetup.
Nice.
Yeah.
The other thing, one of the other parts too is, and it's funny because I know, and this is maybe just my experience, not the men's experience, but I'm aware that it's that those first few dates is to know how to navigate and to feel where we are, because it's not our strong suit to naturally feel what's going on for most men. I'm better at it now than I used to be, but it's been the years of practice.
Yeah.
But to know when it's okay to lean in to kiss or to hold the hand or do other things without crossing a line that is upsetting to the person. And that's always the interesting question. It's almost this level of to ask permission first, which is not a bad, I mean, you can never go wrong with that, as long as you don't ask permission for everything. But if you ask permission saying, I feel like I want to hold hand, is that okay?
Yeah.
And especially after the last couple of years of the Me Too conversation and what's going on now, I think it's time for us men to some ways pull back our level of overtness, in a sense, to be willing to ask before we do.
It's sad that some of the spontaneity has to get put on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had plenty of women go, oh, I'm fine if he just grabs my hand. I said, well, how would you feel if he asked first? Because it's what I'm suggesting to men. And there's only been a couple women who go, oh, I think that was kind of weak. Most of them are like, I'd be fine with that. I think that would be really nice. So I just tell all men to do it. And the couple of women that are going to have a problem with it, oh, well. But what I tell women to do is break that fourth wall. Like they talk about plays, how the audience is behind a fourth wall. And most of the time you don't even pay attention that they're there. That if you touch his hand, oh, that's such a good point, or his arm, oh, I really like what you said, or oh, you're so funny. He's now like, oh, I could now touch her hand.
Yeah, it's the initiation.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so that's a solution I give to my half of show him it's okay. Or like if you're going to walk somewhere, like you've had dinner and now you're going to walk around and look at shops, take his hand. Or put your arm through his arm.
Mm-hmm.
because I always want to see how I feel. I'm a tactily person. I want to see how I feel touching the other person. That's really important to me. That has to feel comfortable to me, or I'm not going to see him again.
Right.
There can't be any negative energy. So then he also knows, oh, this is good. I'm getting to touch her because it's important to you.
Oh,
to
yeah.
see how the physicality is for you. And so it's an interesting dance, depending on who I'm talking to, that's going on this first date. But you, as a man, you can never go wrong asking, because you are bigger and stronger than us, and you want to make sure that every single thing you do is okay with us
And make you feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that with the experience of having. This was going back a while ago when I was on a date, and when we walked out of the restaurant, it's like the feeling of suddenly being, I wouldn't say needed, but it was a sense of being appreciated, because she put her arm around my arm, and suddenly I felt like, oh, I feel stronger now. It was just, it really was, it was rewarding to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she initiated it, it was actually pleasant, and then after that I could lead. And it was that thing is, what she did was she gave me the permission to lead by leading first. It was really bizarre, but it works, and it's so simple.
And what I suggested to women a lot of times is possibly you're in heels, more of a heel than he is, and he's the one with the stable foundation. Hold on to him.
Exactly.
Really? How impressive is that? You're taking good care of yourself doing that.
It's a wise move.
Yes. Besides all the other personal things that are part of it.
Exactly.
So the other thing we think you should just know is to ask us questions, especially on the first date. You want to impress us, you want to talk to us, you want to tell us about yourself, and it's really important that you ask us questions. And the best way to do that is, I'm going to ask you questions in my hopefully not very interviewing way. I try to teach women not to feel like they're interrogating or interviewing.
No, the list of questions they're reading through. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can I get my list out and start checking it off? So whatever we ask you, answer it and turn around and ask the very same thing. Because we've asked it because we want to answer you. We want to tell you, we've asked you about traveling. We want to talk about our travels. We've asked about your dog. We want you to ask about ours. So it's not like you have to think up a bunch of questions. I mean, you might have to think up a few, but we're going to feed you a lot if you pay attention to that. Yeah.
It is that thing. Is, I know I've heard from many of my clients that were really frustrated on dates with a guy who wouldn't stop talking about his accomplishments, because that's the thing. We a lot of times gauge our value by what we've accomplished.
Yeah.
The job we have, the car we have, those things, which for most women are mildly interesting, but not required. So a lot of times what women are saying is like, I feel like I couldn't get a word in edgeways. Yeah. He just kept talking until we ate, and then after that it was over. And I'm like, does he know anything about me?
No.
And that was the thing, is the realization is that part of that ability to have that intimacy is the ability that you know more about each other.
Mm-hmm.
Each other, not just one, both people know about each other.
Yeah.
So that's great. And the fact you set that up, sorry, to finish up your point.
It's tennis.
Exactly, because the fact you're actually setting up where she's, again, giving the gift, like when she puts her arm through his and lets him know it's safe to do that. When she gives him the question for him to answer, he's now got the question right there to give back to her.
Yeah. Or
a tweet on that question is such an easy invitation to play. So in a lot of ways, what you're asking women to do is make our job a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Just to be transparent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, when you go back to the saying of happy wife, happy life, we have so much control that we don't realize as women.
Absolutely. Yes.
Men know this and wish we would acknowledge it and use it for good. So if we know,
use it for good.
I know when I teach the Tell Me More, I go, this is a superpower. You can only use this for good. You may not use this for bad, because it could be used for bad.
Absolutely.
But to make sure that the thought just went out of my brain, like happened to you.
Using your power for good.
That you give the man the best chance to succeed with you. Mm-hmm. Tell him what would make you happy. Tell him what you like. Especially if he does it, tell him.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that you asked that question. I like that you pulled my chair out for me. I like that you are so interested in what I'm doing. Tell him so that he'll do more of it. And he feels like he's winning and succeeding.
which brings up another point about the things that women and men don't know about each other a lot of times, is that women have this assumption that men think like they do.
No.
And of course, Alison says about, women have a bad habit of thinking like men are just hairy women.
Yeah.
It's that understanding, which I think is a very simple way of putting it. But the realization always is that women, when they're with other women, can just have a quick look at each other, and there's like a full 15-page memo sent back and forward in that moment. So ladies, you have the ability to communicate with each other in a way that is far beyond the scope of what men can do. It's not a skill set. So when you're with a man, don't use your womanly communication skills on him, because they won't land, because he won't know you did anything.
No.
It's like if you raise an eyebrow to him, he's going to think, did I say something wrong? I'm not sure what's going on. Versus when you talk to a woman, she goes, oh, that's what happened. Now I see the colors and everything else.
Yeah.
So recognizing for women that your ability to communicate so subtly doesn't always land for the man. So when you said that piece about, tell him what you like, tell him you appreciate the things he did when he opens the door for you, or he puts your coat on for you, say thank you. Because then he knows he did something good. It's like, we like brownie points.
And you want more of them, and you'll do it again.
Exactly.
And then we need to thank you again every time.
Preferably, yes.
Yeah. It's really, I say it's magic. It's so effective.
Yeah.
For both people. You want him to do it more? Great. Tell him that you like it. He wants to make you happy. He'll do it more.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody wins.
Everybody. It is win-win for everybody. We
Absolutely.
would open our pretty little mouths and tell you what we want, instead of, as I love you pointed out, you are not a mind reader.
No, and that's the thing, is a lot of women think there's something wrong with the guy when he doesn't mind read.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing going, it's like, how come when a man doesn't do what I think he should do?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And she gets upset with him, like, because he can't read your mind.
No, it's so unfair. I tell women it is so unfair to get mad at him for not doing something you didn't tell him you needed him to do.
Right.
It's very unfair. So let's figure out how to tell him.
Yes. So it sounds like this conversation has been really biased towards helping the men in some ways.
It's okay. Well, because if you do this for us, we will be happier.
And then we get to benefit too.
When we're happy, we like being close with you. We like being nice to you. We're always these nurturing people, and we want to do stuff, but we will make a decision to not do stuff because we're mad. So the more I teach men to make women happy, the happier we're going to be, and the happier you're going to be. It's really magic how it works that way, for sure. So I'm happy helping the men more. So
here's another one that's going to be more on the bedroom side of things. So let's talk about sex again.
Okay.
Is it? I know you'd want this one too. Is that ability to ask what you want in the bedroom is an interesting thing where a lot of men and women have issues.
Yeah.
Because the thing is this rule, I think some men run, and maybe women do too, that we should know how to do everything perfectly. And in the bedroom especially, it's so hard to, somehow there's something wrong with being able to communicate, which I think is such a ridiculous thing. And I was horrendous at this. I would totally think I knew what I was doing and not have a clue if I was doing it right or not. Yeah. So I'm guilty as charged in that sense. Yeah. So having the ability to communicate, and so because the whole thing with women faking orgasms, which I don't know if it's true now as much as it was back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, is largely because we didn't have communication in the bedroom. And ladies, if you're watching this and your man doesn't want to communicate, you may want to choose a different man, just to say. But having the ability to say, I would love if you would do this or do that. And I had partners, thankfully, who did ask me what they wanted. And I got to do that for them, and they were so much happier. So I'm scored again. So even in the bedroom, the idea of communicating, asking for what you want so he can provide it so you can be happy is another key cornerstone for having a healthy relationship.
Very much. Oh, yeah. I think we should do a whole podcast on that.
We probably could.
Because I think both people often feel very uneducated and stilted and frustrated with how they are not communicating with each other and what to do about it. So
parents don't tell those kids in the birds and bees conversation about communication.
No.
If they tell them anything.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we have another juicy subject for the future.
I think we do.
Well, Cece's telling us we need to wrap up, and we never want to just
another. We want something to talk about.
We have so many more things to share about what men and women want the other people to know. So tell us what you wish the other side note, and
Yes.
we'll put it in our blogs. So the way to reach us is, my website is www.theperfectcatch.com, and you can click on the top where it says what's holding you back from love, and we can have a personal, private, complimentary conversation to get to the bottom of why it's not working and how to help it work better for you to find love again. You can send me an email at christine@theperfectcatch.com. And you can reach me through all the social media channels of Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Twitter and Instagram. I got
Nicely done.
this time. I've been counting on my fingers.
That works.
Very please tell people how they can reach you.
And well, my website is my name, which is easy to find. So barryselby.com, which basically is, it leads you to, right now I'm rebranding my site. So there'll be a new site coming up soon because a friend of mine's designing it for me. But in the meantime, go to barryselby.com. You'll find me, whichever one it goes to. On there is the first item on the navigation bar is a button that says Let's Chat. So if you want to sign up for a conversation with me, you get on my calendar. We can have a conversation about where you are, where you want to go, how I can help you get where you want to have, and if we want to work together. So that's a free gift from me to you. There's also videos. My video series on their is on there. My book, my coaching, my signature program, all that stuff is on my website. You can drop me an email if you want to send in information, especially if you want to send me an email about what you have questions about this topic. Send an email to barry@barryselby.com. And social media, you can find me on, well, my name, Barry Selby, is on most social media. So Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. But Instagram is the real Barry Selby, because I had to change because somebody my name got messed up on Instagram. And on Facebook, you can find my personal page at Barry Selby, or better yet, follow my business page, which is barryselby.author. And that's how you can find me.
Perfect. Well, I hope that you've gotten some valuable information and maybe some ahas and some I didn't even know that, and wow, I might want to try that, or what did they say? And I'll have to ask them information from
Hey,
this.
I didn't. I was in the conversation.
That isn't it fun?
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the cool things about doing this meetup every week is I have all these people that keep feeding information to me. Lucky
Which is
me,
great.
right?
Yeah, that's great.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yep.
So we will see you next week at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern and all the times in between with Barry Selby and Christine Baumgartner, and let's talk about dating.
Look forward to seeing you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.